Indeed, she's a woman who doesn't like to be tied down. I'm Ed Gordon, and we're very pleased to bring you a special edition of BET Tonight, here with the young lady who has had a huge year. We're pleased to welcome Oscar winner, Halle Berry. Young lady, good to see you again.
Good to see you, too.
All right, let's talk about the last time you and I were together. It was right before Monsters Ball. We were talking about it, and I said to you, hey, what about ever winning an Oscar? Do you remember? Are you one of those actors who secretly, no one will admit this publicly,
I'll admit it.
wants that little statue, that little gold guy?
Absolutely.
You have a speech ready?
No speech ready, but sure.
Talk to me a little bit about the feeling of, not that night, but just what it means to you today.
It's a huge accomplishment, and I know that accomplishment, it's not just about me. I got to stand there that night and accept it, but I feel it's a huge step forward. I know that it didn't change Hollywood overnight, but I feel the inspired hearts. They come up to me and they say, wow, you did it. I can do this. I can be the artist that I want to be. I can be a doctor. I can be a lawyer. I can be. And so to be a part of inspiring so many people of color, and especially women, it's pretty incredible.
Do you feel any pressure since then? I mean, so many people have hung so many things on you since that night, frankly.
Yeah. No, that's really the story of my life. I get a lot of things hung on me, and I take it with open arms. And luckily, I'm usually able to, bob and weave and deal with it all. So, no, I don't feel pressure. I just feel really, a lot of pride. I feel very excited about the future. I now have wonderful opportunities that I didn't have before that night, and hopefully, I'll make the most of those opportunities.
What was the best thing for you? Your mother, who I actually met that night.
Was that before she was crying or after she was crying?
Probably during. Let me read something she says about you. She said, I'm proudest of the human being she's becoming. And frankly, you and I have known each other for a little while. You are evolving not only personally but professionally. Is it a conscious thing for you, or has it just come?
I think both. Sometimes I'm hit with lessons that I'm not ready for. I don't think I want, but here they come. And sometimes I purposely seek out situations that I know will help me grow and push the limits and help me take risks. So it's a combination of both.
When you think back to, and I asked you this before, but I'm wondering if you have a different reflection. When you think back to Living Dolls and when you first started out, I suspect you dreamed of this, but the idea of where you are, do you have to pinch yourself?
Oh, yeah. Every day. It's still really, some days, it hasn't sunk in that I actually have an Academy Award. It's almost surreal. And I do pinch myself. I'm really blessed and really lucky. I think I work really hard, but there's a certain amount of luck that has to be. The stars have got to be aligned for you on certain days to make certain things happen, and I'm really aware of that, and I believe in karma. What you put out is what you get back. I'm really, really big on that.
You mentioned in the speech that you wanted to stand there for so many other people, and you rattled off a number of names, all well-deserving. Did you hear from, I would think, many of those people?
I did. Yeah, I did. I got a call from Diane Carroll, which I was really excited about because I met her through my Making of Dorothy Dandridge, and she has been a mentor, and so she called me and said, hey, sis, thanks for remembering me, and that meant a lot to me. Vivica, yeah, some of them did reach back and say, hey, we're with you, and that felt good.
We're going to get into the Bond movie, which is perhaps the most hyped movie of the year. But when you took this on, you signed on before
right, yeah.
the awards. You were excited, I would think, just to be attached to a mechanism as big as this, right?
Oh, yeah, and it's their 20th movie, 40 years later. So not only am I excited to be in Bond, but their 20th anniversary film. It's quite an accomplishment, and to be a part of it and to be a black woman, all these little steps are just, I think, taking us all up that ladder that we're trying to get to.
All right, we're going to take a break here. When we return, we'll talk to Miss Berry about her character in the Bond movie, Jinx. If you haven't seen it, I don't know where you've been. They've been pumping that thing. So we'll be back and talk to her about James Bond right after this.
Whoa. Buy any movie, get a free rental. Ray, get out here. You gotta see this. Would it have killed you if it knocked first?
You get more when you buy movies at Blockbuster, like free rentals. This holiday season, buy any new movie on DVD or video, even the biggest hit, and you'll get a free rental. Free rentals. Another reason the best way to buy is Blockbuster.
Die Another Day. Rated PG-13. Starts tomorrow at theaters everywhere.
When spills are at their worst, Bounty's at its best. It's quilted, so it absorbs faster. It even gets what other towels leave behind. And it's stronger, too.
The quilted Quaker picker-upper, Bounty.
You missed it the first time? What? Well, we're giving it to you again. The first annual BET Award Show. They came. They sang. They represented. Everybody who was anybody was in the house. Don't miss this spectacular night of Black Star Power. Thursday, 7:30 p.m.
Back with Halle Berry talking about Die Another Day. That's the new James Bond movie. Why'd you want to do this outside of what you just suggested, the franchise of it all?
When I read the script, I just liked her, you know, and sometimes that's my
Just that
criteria.
simple.
Yeah, if I like the character, if I think when I read it that I can breathe life into this character, I thought I could have fun. And after Monsters Ball, you know, not that was fun, but that was sort of heavy and emotionally raw. This gave me a chance to just go have fun, you know, and to play and be with travel around the world, you know, as you get to do in the Bond movies. I thought, let's go have some fun and, you know, do a fun character.
It wasn't all fun, though. You got hurt.
Not really. You know, the tabloids made it like I was hurt, but I got a little dust in my eye, and I had to go to the doctor because, you know, in movies, the insurance says you always have to get checked out. So I had to go to the doctor, and they made a big deal. But I wasn't hurt. I wasn't hurt.
All that noise you said,
But the
dust in your
attention
eye.
was great.
The swimsuit. Now, Ursula Andress, who was a Bond girl years ago, received so much attention for a swimsuit that she wore. Yours is kind of like that one.
It's got the knife, a different color, and it's such, you know, that was such a daunting scene because that's a classic. Like, why would you remake something that was, you know, so beautifully done the first time? So.
Was there something in the movie that wasn't there in the beginning that you said, can I do this? I'd like to try this. Did you bring something to it?
There's a few lines, maybe a Yo Mama line that I got to bring to it that the writers, they allowed us to improv. You know, Pierce and I had a really good play back and forth, and we liked to spar a lot. So some of that stuff that we came up with impromptu did get to stay in the movie.
What would you like to come out of this in the sense of what it does for you? Because again, as popular as you are now, I would imagine there are maybe 3 or 4 people who weren't as familiar with Halle Berry who are big Bond fans. I mean, it seems Bond reaches across all venues, genres, races, creeds, etc.
And you know, that's the reason to do it. Like you said earlier, I was signed on to do this before I won an Oscar. But honestly, I would sign on after winning an Oscar, because what this movie does is this movie takes me to the world. Not only is it opening me up to a new, you know, group of people, but it also travels around the world, and the business is so much becoming about the world. You know, America here, we don't have the corner on it so much anymore like we used to. And so this is the first time I get to be in a movie, and we're doing premieres around the world. I've never been a part of a movie like that. So, That's a real big reason to be in part of it with or without Oscar.
How difficult is that part of it? I mean, you really are. We were laughing about, you know, how much they're hyping this movie. Let me ask you this. Are you afraid of the hype in the sense of the expectation is being built so high that, you know, it better be a darn good movie at that point?
As long as they come see it. No, I like the hype because that's what this movie is all about. It's about, you know, come out, have a good time. You know, there's sex, there's Bond, there's gadget, there's women. That's really what it's about. The movie is about hype. Bond is hype. You know what I mean? It's living in this surreal world where anything can happen. And I really just don't think they'll be all that disappointed because Bond is Bond. Over the last 40 years, you know, 20 movies later, it's the same formula. And every time out, it does well. So this, you know, doesn't lack any of that. So I feel really comfortable with the hype because I think people know what they're going to get.
And it really is exactly what Bond has always been, and that is you've got to go in looking for fantasy, too.
Oh, it's a total fantasy. I mean, Bond is going to win at the end of the day. You know that going in. Bond is not going to, you know, be beaten. But it's fun to watch the journey, you know, how he foils the crime this time, how he, you know, does some really interesting stunt within an inch of his life, but he walks away with like a little scrape. That's the, you know, and all the double entendres, and, you know, that's the fun of it, and the clothes.
You are working on X-Men 2 now. What of that made you want to come back?
I had to.
Contractually.
Contractually. Yeah, we all had to come back contractually. But there again, you know, that's a very beloved comic book series. And if I didn't learn anything from the first time around, their fans, the X-Men fans, are serious, like no other. You know, and they're very picky about how each character is portrayed. I think because of the unhappy fans, my character got a hair change because the fans were so unhappy with her hair the first time around. So this time I think we'll please them, but that's how serious they are. Yeah.
Did you find that at all strange? I mean, were you a comic book aficionado before?
No, I have to say I wasn't. So, and I still haven't read the comic books. I am playing Storm, you know, in my own universe, the universe that the writers so beautifully make up for us. And I'm not putting the pressure on myself to live up to every version of Storm that ever was. I mean, there's so many sort of versions of all the characters. And I think if I were to start delving into the books and if I were to start reading, I think I'd feel a little bit of pressure about which one to play. And, you know, and you know, I like it this way. She is a creation in my own mind right now, and I don't compare her to anything.
All right, take another break here. When we come back, we'll talk about what's upcoming for Miss Berry, very busy young lady right about now. Here's some more of Die Another Day, the James Bond movie coming to you in theaters in just a few days.
There's something wonderful about a hatter. It's one of the few things that brings so much joy. Made fresh, hot off the grill, all juicy and delicious with fresh toppings so it tastes great. It lifts your spirits and makes everything okay. That's the kind of hamburger we make. Wendy's Classic Double with cheese. It's better here. And our pickup window's open till midnight or later, so you can eat great even late.
Back with Halle Berry. Talk to me about what's upcoming for you. I know when we talked last, there was a mention of a Foxy Brown remake. You had also bought the rights to a book, something about your hair. Happy or something like that. But what's up for you?
Well, first and foremost, a break. I've been going nonstop since Monsters Ball and the Oscars, and then Bond, and then I went right from Bond to X-Men, and now I'm into the promotion of Bond. So I am going to take probably 3 months off, regroup, rest, and come back in the probably early spring. And there's a number of things. For the first time in my career, I have really good choices.
Are you getting better scripts now?
Yes, absolutely.
Because a lot of people have suggested that just because you win an Oscar does not necessarily mean the material gets better.
My material has gotten better.
Really?
Maybe it's not the case for everybody, but for me, the opportunities are more vast and the scripts are a lot better. And I'm, you know, having an opportunity to work with, you know, better directors, yeah.
Take the stigma away from the word I'm about to use, calculating. How calculating have you been in terms of your career?
Very. I don't think it's happened by accident. You know, there's been a lot of planning, a lot of forethought. Some things have happened by accident, you know, a sheer stroke of luck, which it's like a gust of wind that takes me in a new direction. And usually when I find myself in a new direction, I try to embrace it and figure out and calculate, okay, how can I make this work for me and take me to the next step? Always trying to move forward up that ladder and make the, you know, the door bigger for women of color.
Do you want to act until you retire, we bury you, whatever the case is? I mean, do you want to act forever?
I want to act as long as it's fun, as long as people will still come and be inspired by the work or you know, want to support what I'm doing. And when that day comes, when it's time for me to leave, I think I will embrace it, you know, and I'll graciously step down and hopefully, you know, pass the ball to someone else. And hopefully they'll carry it even farther.
We talked to your co-winner, Mr. Washington, the other day, and he has directed his first film. I'm wondering if any thought of directing has ever come across your brain.
I have to get where, you know, to the point where Denzel is. I mean, and I'm just not there. My mind has been so focused on opening, you know, the door and paving the way for women in front of the camera. And maybe, you know, later in life, you know, when the acting bug, you know, doesn't have such a hold on me, I think I would like to. I'm already starting to produce, and I'm finding that really rewarding and very necessary, you know.
And
for
that is
like
the
me.
Napoli Ever After? What is it?
Yeah, Napoli Ever After.
Okay, but that'll be part of you producing, correct?
Yeah, that. There's another project I'm producing for HBO called Lackawanna Blues for a friend of mine. I'm not in it at all, but it's a way to, you know, use, you know, some of the quote-unquote power that I'm able to garner these days and try to help someone else, you know, help someone else along.
All right, let me do this. Let me take a break and come back, and we'll talk real quick about those two projects and what they are. So we'll be back with some final thoughts with Halle Berry right after this.
If you have any questions or comments about the show or any suggestions about a topic or guest you'd like to see, email us. You can reach us at BET.com and then click on the news section.
We're back. Final thoughts with Halle Berry. Talk to me a bit about the two projects you just mentioned and what they are.
The one is Lackawanna Blues. That's going to be for HBO. And it's a friend of mine who won an Obie last year. He wrote a one-man show about his life. And we had a screening for him out here in LA, and a lot of executives came and they loved it. And so we're going to make a movie. He's going to write the screenplay himself and do a movie. And Napoli Ever After is a book by Trisha Thomas that I bought the rights to a couple of years ago, and it's about a woman who, you know, as black women, sometimes we define ourselves by our hair and the length of it and the texture of it, and it's sort of a woman's journey, through that very issue. And at the end of the day, she realizes that she's more than just her hair, and she ends up shaving all her hair off. And those are two that are really near and dear to my heart. But there's Foxy Brown coming up for MGM, which I'm really, really excited about.
Have you talked to Pam Grier at all?
No, I haven't. But as soon as I finish Bond and I get off this tour and done with X-Men, I'll start turning my sights to that. And I would love to talk to her and pick her brain. And yeah.
Some people have written that the next couple of roles you pick, and I asked you earlier about pressure, are really going to determine where you go and what it means historically, whether that win was just a pat on the back to you for a fine performance, but Hollywood trying to maybe right some wrongs of the last 74 years. Yeah. Or if you pick the right roles, black women, minorities, etc., getting more muscle. Have you thought about that? What the next few roles will be?
No, and you know what? One mistake I don't want to make is I don't want to now have Oscar in hand and change any of my method that got me here, because I'll surely fail. And if I take on the pressure of either my community or naysayers or anybody, it'll steer me in the wrong direction. So I am, with Oscar in hand, going about my career just as I would have before that night. I'm going to continue to take risks, do things that people might say, oh, girl shouldn't be doing, and do things that I think, will historically speak to, who we are as a people. I'm doing a movie for Oprah Winfrey called Our Eyes Were Watching God, so I'm still going to be doing those kind of movies as well, but I'm also going to continue to try to take us in a new direction and sort of bridge the gap of our color barrier. I'm really passionate about that. Being half black, half white, that is who I am. And I'm very committed to sort of trying to bridge that gap.
What is it about you that hasn't made you shy away from the black community or those interests? And I say that in a way that we see so many people who reach a certain pinnacle, who believe that if I say a particular thing or salute black folks too much, that it may take away from what I'm gaining.
Oh, because it's who I am. If I don't acknowledge myself and salute us, then I'm not saluting myself. Plain and simple. I've always identified with my community. I've gotten so much love and support from my community. And at times it seems like I don't, but it's those few naysayers that somehow get a lot of attention. Nobody realizes the positive strokes that I get from my community, or the good thoughts, or the good wishes. You know, so I get much more love from my community. And I know that, you know, many of them look to me to make a way, you know, a way out of no way, and I really take that seriously.
In the December issue of Essence magazine, Berry writes about the challenge she and husband singer Eric Benet have been going through after reports surfaced that he was allegedly having an affair. I asked the actress where she got the strength that has maintained her throughout her career.
My mother. She's a strong, strong lady. And whenever I think I'm weak, or when I feel weak, she comes rushing in and she reminds me that I'm her child. And there's no weakness. There's a lot of strength. And every bad situation and every tough situation is just a learning experience, you know? And I really believe that today. There was a time when I didn't, and I would say it, but now I really know it to be true.
Okay. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
All my best.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you,
Thanks
too.
for coming. And thank you for joining us. So go see Die Another Day, as if you weren't going to do it anyway. And, you know, support this young lady because she does a lot of good for everybody. Thanks for joining us, a special edition of BET Tonight. I'm Ed Gordon from New York City.
Special thanks to the W Hotel Time.